Right, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the joy and fun I've been having of trying to get this bike ready for its MOT after it failed its MOT last year on a number of issues. The issues that we had, which I've covered in other videos, were that the brake caliper and the brake unit at the front wasn't working properly, and I'd actually forgotten to replace a nut that goes on the bottom here of the brake lever to hold it on. I'd forgotten to put that back. Other issues it had was the fuel cap seal had gone, and we've explained that in a previous video. Well, one of the big remaining issues, cosmetically the seat doesn't look great. I've just had some quotes for a full restoration on that, and it's going to be about 180, 190, 200 quid to fully strip, replace, repair, restore that seat. Though they can't replace these bits, these plates at the end of the leathers, so I've contacted some chromers to see whether they can do a re-chrome that, tidy it up. So we'll see the results of that exploit when I find a couple of £100 to restore the seat. But in this video we are looking at one of the other issues that it had, which was the centre stand bolt, which you'll know also secures the rear brake lever. The brake lever unit has in fact seized to the centre stand bolt. So what I need to do is get that bolt out. Now, as you can see, I've removed the exhaust off it to try and get in there and free it up and get that bolt out with no joy whatsoever. It's now been sitting a couple of months with a load of lubrication and penetrating oil, etc., on there to try and free it up. So what I'm going to do is we're going to clear it up, get some space in there, and show you the issues, and well, see if it's magically freed itself with the little pixies that we all would love to have and fixing and looking after our bikes. But anyway, so let's get this cleared up, let's get some space in there, get some light in there, and we'll show you the issues that I've been having with that, and well, what I propose to do to try and fix it. So yeah, let's get this cleared away and get some space in there. Right, apologies for the poor lighting, I can't really get anything else in there to see. So what I've done is the issue we've got is that this is the centre stand bolt here. It goes, it pokes out from the brackets that secure the centre stand. There's the centre stand, a few cobwebs from the winter, and yes, the bolt comes through from that side, through the centre stand, through the other side of the frame, and then sticks out with the rear brake lever pivoting on it. The issue I've got here is that the actual brake lever, which you might not be able to make out, has in fact seized to that, and I can't find any way of removing or getting it unseized from each other. I've tried wellying it, I've tried bashing it, I've heated this unit up to try and free it up, etc., with absolutely no joy whatsoever. There's no space in here to get anything in there really sort of to pry this, crowbar this unit out. I can't find any way of actually grabbing the centre stand bolt. It's a solid bolt, and it's fully encapsulated so that the tube in the centre stand is solid, so I can't hold it here. It's got a flat end on this side, so I can't even clamp anything to it on that side. I really am stumped on what I can do with this, and it's causing me a major headaches, and I've be honest with you, I've sort of lost my rag with it really. Not quite sure what I can do. So it's been sitting, it's had a load of penetrating oil in there, so I'm going to give it another go. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we can try and free it up, but I've got a replacement bolt for it, and I'm considering actually having a hole drilled from this side, the flat end, all the way through sort of the centre of the bolt really. This end's got a hole in it for the split pin that secures it all on. Not that this one needs it. Having some holes, a hole drill through the centre of the bolt with an exit hole here and in here, and a grease nipple put on the end, so I can grease all this up. The previous owners, or at some point in this bike's life, I've not seen this on any others to be honest, is that it appears that someone's actually done that to the the bolt here that holds the what's this, the wish arm? I don't know, whatever this is called, for the back wheel. So you can actually grease into here to actually grease up the pivot points and the bushes that are in there. There was some suggestion that actually these ones are failing, but I've not been able to actually to see that. But anyway, so that's another video. So yeah, so this is the joy I've been having, is to try and replace this centre bolt. Well, I'm revisiting this centre stand issue that I've got, and I can now report I've had some success. What I've ended up doing is getting a MAP gas blowtorch to the blinking thing. Let me try and get you in a good position so you can see. There you go. So this is the centre stand bolt. There's the centre standers coming in across there, and here's the brake lever going off around there. What I ended up doing was getting a MAP gas blowtorch, clamping the older mole grips on this end, and then blowtorching this, getting this really hot, this whole area, and then I've managed to actually rotate the bolt head. Now the issue I've now got is to get it actually out, and what I'm first going to do is get in a sanding disc and just try and get into here and reduce this diameter a bit, because it's pinching as it goes through. There's no way of just pulling this off in that direction, because the actuating arm that goes to the rear brake hits the frame here. You can just see it. I'm not touching your finger because it's still hot. You can just see it here, and that hits the frame. So the only way to get this off is to get this bolt retracted far enough so it meets the frame face, to then this brake lever to then drop away. So I need to push this bolt through and out to actually get it out. So we've now, like I said, we've now got some rotation on this bolt head now. There we go, some rotation, not a lot. I mean, it's still binding quite a bit. I've got the old penetrating oil in there, and really the best thing I can do is sort of work this as much as I can. Let's try and get you a better angle. There you go. Get you back there so you can see. There we are. I used to try and work this bolt as best I can. Blast with the old penetrating oil. Excuse me a second. Didn't want to get your face covered in the stuff. And really just sort of work this around, really. I think it's all I can really do. I mean, you know, to be honest, I'm tempted to leave it like that, because it's no longer seized on the bolt, is it? But you know, if you're going to do it, you might as well try and do it properly, eh? So if you have this problem and you end up having to like blowtorch off the blowtorch it, take, you know, really care. I've taken off the spring, off the rear brake switch. I made sure everything else was clear around here. I had the fire extinguisher ready. I even had the garden hose ready, to be honest with you. So yeah, so I'm going to try and sand this down a bit and see if we can get it popping through and get it out. I've been doing some reading, and some people have put grease nipples on the centre stand in the tubing there that the bolt goes through, and I'm tempted to do that on not only the centre stand but also the brake lever actuating arm as well, just in here where it's not going to interfere with anything. Yeah, I'm so tempted to leave that, because you know, that's now free. That's not
bound up at all now, but you know, I want to do it properly. Okay, and yeah, that's still not coming off at all. Anyway, I'm going to have a bit more of a bash at this, point you watching me fart arse around, and I'll get back to you in a mo with a progress update. See you in a bit. Okay, we're back, and look at that. Look at that. Right then, I thought I'd let you join me for the, hopefully, the final bit here. Okay, so I sanded down the outside of it because it got a little bit mashed up. I rotated it around, more penetrating oil, and hopefully, there you go. Success, finally. Right then, let's get this centre stand bolt back down, and let's try and get this out a bit more. There you go. One centre stand bolt out. Gee whiz. Well, that was a job and a half, I tell you. Job and a blinking half that was. Let's get to the bench and have a look at this, shall we? Here's the old bolt. So nasty, having gunk, heavily corroded and dirty at this end. That's where it's seized onto the unit, onto the brake lever. Brake lever itself, well, you know, I expected to see more crud in there, to be honest, but you know, I'll get in there with some cleaner and mops and things and give that a good clean. Obviously I've messed up the chrome, it's obviously got major heat damage to it, etc, but hey, you know, I've got the thing off. The centre stand is going to need quite a bit of work though. I mean, this is quite rusty. Look at it, full of shit. So I'll get this cleaned out as best I can. Give it a scrub down, give it a wire brush. As I've been saying with all of this, my aim goal is to do a full rebuild of the thing. So I think what I need to do right now, because I want to ride it this summer, is get it in a state that it's MOTable, and we can get the thing MOT'd, and I can get riding it, and maybe next winter we do the full strip if I get any garage space. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean all of this, and then I mean, I've got a replacement bolt, so I might end up replacing a new bolt in it, but that bolt in essence looks okay. It was just all the gunk in there that had made it ruin it. So I'll clean all this up, and we'll revisit this when I got it all clean. But yeah, I got it out. Nice one, nice one. Cheers. I won't go too close because it messes up the sound, but in the ultrasonic is the pin and the brake lever, and then out there in a sink bowl thing is centre stand, degreasing and cleaning, etc. So yeah, part of the way through. I'm probably going to have to put all this back together again just to get the bike standing safely where it needs to. But no, we're getting there, we're cleaning it all up, getting there. Anyway, back in a bit. So here's the centre stand bolt. It's not looking that bad, if I'm honest. Bit of corrosion going on in here, so I think what I'm going to do, there's the end I had to hammer and clean off. So I think what I'm going to do is get the old wire brush wheel out and give this a really good wire brushing. Clean this up, so I can grease it and put it all back together again, because I'm going to have to put it back together again for the bike to stand. I'm going to investigate actually getting a hole drilled this end all the way through to this point, and then a hole drilled here and here, and a grease nipple put on here, so that when I grease, I can just grease it once, and that will then grease through to here and to here. Like I said, I think this bolt is okay, though looking at it, there's quite a bit of wear here and here, which is where it fits in the frame. The frame clips hold onto it. That's another bit I've got to clean. But yeah, so I know I'll get a new bolt out, and you can have a comparison. Hold on a minute. So here's the new bolt, part number. I'm not going to open it up, because if I don't need to use it, I can sell it as an original part. But there's the, get that so I can see it. There we go. And there's the replacement. So it's actually a tad longer. And there's the wear point on mine where it hit the frame, and likewise there as well where it hit the frame, and we've still got the recesses in it for the greasing in there. So yeah, I'm going to get the old wire brush on this and give it a really good clean. Right, so here are all the pieces clean and together. Well, not on the bike, but together. So here we have the brake lever coming through onto there. It comes off. That's been thoroughly cleaned. Now I've also had to actually get a grinder out, mini grinder, and grind some of the bits away from after banging it around a bit. But I've cleaned and semi-polished the inside. We then got, excuse me a minute, we now got the centre stand bolt, so all nice and clean. And again, I've had to dress this with some polishing stones to get it to go into the brake lever and still, rotate relatively freely. So there we all cleaned and polished, as it were, and we then have the actual centre stand, and this is quite badly rusted. I've given it a good clean, again giving the hole in there a bit of a semi-polish, but I've got quite a bit of rust on here. Now the end hope is of course to be powder coated as part of a full restoration, but that ain't gonna happen for a while. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna use some hammerite crust, is what's it called, let me get that, hammerite crust. Now what this does is it converts the rust into, probably wrong here, but I think it might be something like hematite or magnetite or something like that, a different iron material. I've used this on the rusty bits off the exhaust. So these parts here, let me get them out for you, these parts here, which I'm sure you all should be familiar with, they go around the exhaust. So the exhaust goes through this. The exhaust actually has a shoulder at the end of it that this surface pushes against, so they go around the exhaust, that goes in, they then seat against this, which goes over the pins, and this whole thing then pushes the exhaust into place. I've used this crust on these. Now you might be able to make out from the surface undulations how very badly rusted these were. I couldn't get them back to bare metal without taking off quite a bit of material, so I didn't want to use that sort of heat paint, high temperature paint stuff, because you really need that against base metal, the pure metal as it were. So I've given this crust a bit of go, and it turns the rust surface into this black relatively hard surface, so I'm going to give that a go with that on the exhaust, but I'm going to give it a go down here on all these bits in here, all this stuff, all this gubbins, all that I can possibly get in here with the paint to get this to that black, relatively hard material. It takes about half an hour or so, paint it on. You only need a real small amount. Follow the instructions obviously on the packaging, blah 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 blah. I'll probably take these off so I get none of that stuff into there, because there's bound to be some rust in there, so I get nothing into that, and I can then give this a really good paint with the stuff. It then says use a top coat. I haven't got a top coat, but I need to get this painted, go do some other stuff, and then reassemble it this evening. So yeah, so we'll see this once this is black, hopefully. Cheers. So here I am with this Hammerite crust product placement. I'm not sponsored by Hammerite in any shape or form. If you want me to be, by all means. Get some more into a jar. Use very little. It seems to go a long way. And a clean brush. Get some of the stuff on it, and then brush it on the surface. And you want to get an even coat on all the rusty areas. Now I apologise if I go out of shot at all or anything like that. So I was going to tape over those bits, but I'm just going to be really careful. So yeah, brush it on all the rusty bits. And like I said, what this seems to do is convert the rust into like I said, a black, like you saw on the exhaust stud bit things, whatever they are. So might go a bit out of shot here, I apologise if I do, but I need to get into all these bits. So you know, I'll come back when we finish painting it. So quite a bit of the way along now. I've gone into all the small areas that I can. And now you might be able to pick up on the camera the sort of the blue colour that it started to go. Now I don't get around so much about the paint job, but I do want to get the entire bit done. So I just want to get every part of it covered so that this layer it produces over the rusty parts is as uniform as it can be. Now I'm assuming, of course, if I have this powder coating, it's going to be sandblasted, so I'm assuming, hoping that this surface will sandblast off. I'll find that out when we come to it. So just getting as much of it as I can covered. I think that's going to be as good a job as I'm going to get on it. So I'll put this somewhere to dry, and we'll revisit this where you can make out that colour coating, that colour change on that bluish colour. There you go. See you later. So here's the centre stand. It's been only about 15-20 minutes, if that, and you can see we've got
well, you've got paint here, but then all this other surface is all rusty. It's dry to touch generally. Let's turn that over. Have a look. That's nice lighting. There you go. So you can see how it's turned that surface rust residue into that black material. You can see the black paint is still, but that's all over. So I'm going to leave it under a hot lamp now and let it sort of go off as much as it can if it wants to, etc. So yeah, so that's that hammerite crust stuff. So yeah, pretty good. So yeah, so I've now cleaned the rest of the bike. The rest of the bits, we're leaving this to go off for a bit now, and then we'll grease it up, well, reassemble, dry assemble, grease up, reassemble fully, and hopefully that's it done for now anyway. Catch you in a mo. Right, I've given this a bit of time to cure and dry off, and we've now got this nice black coating over the whole thing. I need to replace the stopper on that, and then we're good to go. So just to hopefully make this a bit easier, a bit of Vaseline on that. This is the rubber sort of cushion, I suppose is the best thing to think about it. A bit of Vaseline on that. Gently tease that back in. That's not going anywhere. Now, I haven't got a big enough washer for this end, and in fact, if I remember rightly, when I took this off, there wasn't a washer here. I noticed that the other bolt is a little bit longer, and that's possibly allowed for the washer space. So right now all I've got is this material thing, which isn't going to last very long, but yeah, we'll whack that on there for now. I assume we can make it fit. So let's get down to the bike, get ourselves in a good position to see what we're doing, and we'll try and dry assemble this, and then we'll fill it all with some LM grease, and hopefully we're done. So let's get to the bike. Right, so do a dry assembly. So bolt in from the far side. Set the stand in. Centre stand in. Right. We now need to push the bolt back. Get this unit in. And push it through from the other side. I'm going to put my temporary washer on. And C-clip. And that is working. Maha maha. So let's grease up that pin, whack it in. I'll get the bolts for these clips first and get them ready, because they'll pinch up. Yeah,
Good bit of progress today, good bit of progress. So yeah, I'll get the bolts. So for this bit we're going to be greasing it all up now. Now we know it all fits. We're going to be using Castrol CL grease. CL grease is waterproof, semi-adhesive, good for chassis and those kinds of things. The first area we are going to be trying to get grease into is the centre part of the brake lever, which has caused the most hassle. So it is literally it's a messy job. Let's not be about it, but it's a messy job, but we've got to do it. So get a bit on the old pinky, and in it goes. Right, let's go. Right, let's go and get this stuff assembled. Right, let's go for final assembly. So we got our greased up axle pin, centre stand pin. Centre stand in there, greased up centre bolt, just going to spread that grease around there. And wipe that off the pinky. Okay. Brake unit, brake lever goes in here, and we want to push that bolt through from the opposite side and just clear off some of that mess. Okay, assembly washer, and then there's that hole. Pin goes through. Now to finish the job, pair of pliers on that end. And we go with that nicely, and nicely with that. Okay, the last job is then to get I'd love to have one of those bike stand things, really would. We only need to get the bolt in on this clip, so out the way, washer, spring washer, nut. Alright. Yeah, we'll get a socket on that. 10mm. Yep. Sweet. Right, that's now done. I'll pop over the other side. But in essence, that's our brake unit unseized, lubricated, reassembled and tidied up onto put the other bolt on. The next job is then reassembling all the springs for the brake light, rear brake light switch, centre stand, brake lever, and we're done. So yeah, so that was a bit of a job I've had for a long time. Really thanks very much for watching. I hope it's been of some use, or rather you've just enjoyed watching my trials and tribulations of fixing the centre stand on a Honda CB200. Please like, comments, sign up, etc. down below. Much appreciate your comments and your feedback, really do appreciate it. If there's anything you want me to have a look at, you know, if my opinion's worth anything of course, then do put me a comment or drop me a line and I'll do my best to reply. But yeah, thanks for watching, hope it's been of some use, much appreciated. Cheers, bye bye.